Since 1969, the Washington Blade has been the nation's independent source for fearless reporting, earning the paper the moniker the newspaper of record for the LGBTQ plus community. You can read their award-winning journalism at more than 100 locations throughout the DC region and online at washingtonblade.com. And also they have an excellent weekly e-newsletter that comes into your inbox at the end of every week. Joe Reberkenny is the White House correspondent for the Washington Blade. He is a graduate of American University where he studied broadcast journalism and political science with a focus on gender, race, and politics. He covers LGBTQ issues and political news with a particular passion for exploring queer history in the nation's capital. Starting today, Joe will be joining us bi-weekly on Wednesdays to share his reporting from the Capitol, as the Washington Blade is the only LGBTQ publication credentialed as part of the White House Press Corps. Joe, thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here.
Thank you guys for letting me join you guys back again. I had such a great time last time, and I'm excited to make this a regular occurrence.
Perfect. Well, you've got a couple of exclusives that I want to dive into here. First, in just about a half hour or so, according to the Associated Press, Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva will be sworn in as the newest member of the House of Representatives. You had an exclusive one-on-one interview with her last week. That was when it was like 41 days since she had been elected and hadn't been sworn in. I think we're now at 48 days. Can you remind us, what was Speaker Johnson's excuses for why it took this long to get to today?
Yeah, he had a few excuses to delay Alita's swearing in. He claimed procedural review, but most of it kind of fizzled under any scrutiny or continual looking into it. Most of it seemed like it was a push from the Trump administration to prevent, most timely, I guess, being the Epstein files being released, which I don't know if we've been looking at Twitter or any other sites right now, but there are some documents coming out as we speak that are not looking too great for Trump in terms of connections to Epstein and some of the affairs that he was charged with. But back to back to the soon-to-be representative. She's represented the 7th district in Arizona. Well, following her father's passing, she was elected in a special election in September, and is now the officially longest delayed member to be sworn in.
Wow. So when you talked with her, she seemed pretty clear that it was her being the 218th vote to release the Epstein files that was the reason why this was taking so long.
Yeah, it was emphasized again and again that it shouldn't matter regardless of what the speaker's decision was or side on the matter is. The people of Arizona elected her to represent them, and he is withholding a voice for over 800,000 people in the districts in Arizona. So it emphasized again that it was most likely due to the context of the Epstein files and, just having another Democratic seat, although it's not flipped. Her father, when he represented the district, was also Democrat, but, still a Democratic voice outwardly speaking against the current administration.
Well, the district had been without representation since her father's passing, and then this extra 40-odd days, almost 50 days on top of that. She said something to you that I was like, oh, yeah. She's like, actually, we both ran, Trump and I, on the exact same issue of release the Epstein files.
Yeah, which was kind of a funny thing to recognize, that as soon as he got into office, he pushed it under the rug, said it's nothing, and now it's a Democratic hoax. But she still is running on it, and it obviously went well for her to keep fighting for the release of the files. So, yeah.
So once she is, and it's going to be on Wednesday, late day on Wednesday, a seated member of Congress, what did she tell you were the issues that she is looking forward to taking on besides getting the Epstein files out?
Yeah. So she mentioned specifically LGBTQ issues that was harbored a message to me, representing trans voices and the rights of trans people, not only in her district, but across the U.S. Environmental concerns. She mentioned how there are point blank rollbacks from the Trump administration, from various environmental agencies that is harming the people in not only your district and again across the United States. Those were like two very big ones that she mentioned. The Epstein files, of course, and she wants to be it seems slightly more progressive, not super out of line with traditional Democrats, but maybe a little bit more vocal, I guess, than some of the other House Democrats have been in terms of various issues. But yeah.
I'm curious because her district does share a border with Mexico, and obviously the Trump administration has been editorial here, a nightmare when it comes to how they're handling immigration issues. Did any of that come up in the conversation that you had with her?
We didn't talk too much about that. Honestly, we kept it most to just LGBTQ issues and, why she felt she was being delayed. But she did mention that it is a large chunk of her district is right against that border. And there are a lot of people who do travel across that border for work, for family, for a bunch of things. And she wants that right to be able to, move freely and to be still a right that they have as Arizonans and Americans.
Mm-hmm. On her positions related to rights and healthcare for transgender Americans, what did she tell you?
She gave me quite a bit of good quotes, specifically that trans rights are human rights, period, which was fantastic to hear from somebody so definitive and so strong in support of trans rights. And that I also mentioned, which I'll mention in a minute, I spoke with a former or a current military member who is trans and who is possibly getting kicked out of the military for being trans. And I asked her, what are your thoughts on this? There's a lot of cases that are unsure about federal, military members who are trans. What are your positions? And she tied it into Veterans Day being yesterday, and said that we shouldn't be picking and choosing which veterans are worthy of our thanks. If they're supporting our country, if they're fighting for us, they should get all of the praise that they deserve and all of the money and healthcare that they're entitled to. Yeah.
We are talking with Joe Reberkenny, White House correspondent for the Washington Blade. That's a really great segue. So yesterday was Veterans Day, Tuesday was Veterans Day, and you published another exclusive interview, this time about transgender service members. Your interview was with Second Lieutenant Nicolas Talbott of the U.S. Army, who is the lead plaintiff in Talbott v. Trump, which is the case against his executive orders to ban transgender service members. Can you remind us about the case and what it is alleging?
Yeah, so it is the Trump administration is arguing that there is the trans people who are in the military are not equipped to meet the standard of the military anymore. Just all of a sudden, they've decided that despite meeting physical, mental, and otherwise standards that they have overwhelmingly met, that they're not worthy of being in the military. That they're not. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I think what's confusing to a lot of people is the current status of transgender service members. So is Second Lieutenant Talbott currently serving? Is he on leave? Has he been discharged? Like,
it's kind of a limbo. He's not technically not been discharged yet. There is the court proceedings are making it even more complicated in terms of finding out where he is and where the general thought of the courts and the executive orders are. But it's really just confusing in terms of for a lot of avenues and questions about where we are for trans veterans and service members.
So, like, he's working.
He is technically, I believe it's more of like a leave. Yeah. It's from what I've gathered, he's there have been other trans service members who have point blank asked not to be mentioned by name in other interviews I've done because they were still working and there were more details. But being the named person in a lawsuit does give you kind of that name recognition and ability to speak out. But yeah, it was a lot of the discussion we had was about how all he wants to do is fight for the country, and his entire life has been dedicated to doing this. He went to school for it. He went to graduate school for this, and is just being withheld despite, being completely physically, mentally, emotionally qualified and actively ready to do it.
Mm-hmm. The Supreme Court told the Trump administration that, yeah, go ahead, proceed with this, even though the court case is still working its way up there, which maybe that's a tipping of the hat or, thumb on the scale for that. Where is the case, though? Like, is it in a district court? Is it like...
It's in the DC court.
Okay.
So it's slightly different given, it's not a state. There are certain specializations in DC's court that does make it a little bit different. But it is on the way to being moving. I guess that's the best way I can put it right now.
Because these take a long time. How is that factoring into his psychology right now of recognizing this isn't going to be over tomorrow? It's not going to be over at the end of 2025 and maybe not at the end of 2026.
And that's perfect. That's exactly what he talked about, was that the uncertainty of this whole situation, something, again, that he's given his entire life, his entire education, passion for, has been put essentially just on an indefinitive pause. He doesn't know if he will get paychecks in the future. He doesn't know if he will be able to afford medical care that, especially for trans people, is crucial to their livelihood. There are so many things that are just up in the air that only add to the uncertainty and to the uncomfortableness of this whole situation.
In this exclusive, you also spoke with Jennifer Levi, who is the Senior Director of Transgender and Queer Rights at GLAD Law, who is leading this case. And as you reported, Jennifer was also the leader of the legal fight against Trump 1.0's ultimately failed military bans for transgender service members. I'm curious about what her take was on the differences between 1.0 and 2.0.
Yeah, I point blank asked her about this as well, and she emphasized that this attempt at stripping trans service members and veterans away from their rights as military members is, quote unquote, more cruel than the first. Like, she point blank said that the policy itself just categorizes trans people as dishonest and untrustworthy, undisciplined, and it is really just so much hyped up compared to what it was over 4 years ago, before Biden took office, that he was trying to push.
I mean, does a statement like that make her feel good because that's so easily disprovable?
Regarding
I mean, like
yes.
Arguing the case. I mean, that is so easy to disprove that. I mean, just bring in 5 people and you can go, wait, what? This doesn't even hold up.
That was another thing that she mentioned. And honestly, I talked to Talbott about this, and he point blank said, I feel, if anything, my trans identity is a testament to my ability to commit to something and to fight for something that I believe in wholeheartedly. And if, I'm fighting for something, whether it be my gender identity or the nation, I will be fighting tooth and nail until I can't fight anymore. And that was what a message that rang clear for both of these people, was that they know that this is morally wrong, and that they felt that they have the understanding that they should be doing what they're doing, and that kind of motivates them to keep fighting.